hardest guess for me contra Gideon right here.
Yeah, of course.
Honestly,
actually, I want to put in another challenge as well before we get ourselves breaking this one down. I need you guys to put those numbers in.
Okay.
Like, that best of 5. How many games are each side gonna get? So, of course, now I'm gonna start mine. It's gonna be a 3-2 for me.
100%. 100%.
Oh.
It could be a 3-1, but I'm expecting at least 4 to 5 games.
I'm saying
the max,
3-2 as well,
at a
bro.
minimum.
3-2. 3-2. Gideon?
Honestly, it's either gonna be a 3-0 or a 3-2. It just cannot be a 3-1 or some nonsense like that. Like, once a team gets momentum, it's hard to break. But let's jump right into the draft here, and we can see that Geek Fam have already started by taking away the Uranus, taking away options from Resurgence, which allows them to get the one and only Atlas. Let's see whether KZP can really turn it for his team, because now they've kind of shown that they want to play a team fight composition with a hyper carry variation.
And now, of course, with a couple of all these options of the carries being left, Fix is looking to secure carry itself. So, what do you feel will be the best options here? But Dicky finally sees the light of day after so long, and the Grand Finals first matchup, and we're looking at LY4, of course, having his legs shaking for a little bit. Okay, well, however he's supposed to actually pull this off.
This automatically means that Resurgence has to focus less on CC heroes, because they just know that you know, with Diggy's time journey, it's just going to be really difficult to land a lot of the CC, which is why they go for the Farsa here. It's going to be hard pickups for them right now. Atlas is going to have a lot of trouble and problems going into this game.
Yeah, and
for sure,
one more thing add up on top of, sorry to cut you off right there, like, that Dicky pick is so vital because it could actually potentially cancel whatever that Atlas is about to do. So it's very, very vital that RSG catches on that Diggy before anything else.
Yeah, but really smart play coming up for Resurgence. They ban out the Grok because, yeah, you have the carry, and yes, it is good, but we don't want you to be able to clear waves fast. Plus, you're still lacking a tank. Geek Fam understand, hey, that Esmeralda in the side lane could really punish our Uranus. Let's get it out of there. Now, Resurgence, they want to build a Farsa comp, and I think they're debating whether or not they need to get the Valier, yes or no, because this is a very, very tough option. I'm guessing that Resurgence might even consider getting 2 tanks just for this particular matchup.
Yeah, I was about to say the Tamos as well, because right now I think another fighter that has been really contested is the Cho and the Jawhead, which we might see picked either on either side.
Yeah, that definitely would be a potential pickup, but, well, it gets tougher and tougher for Resurgence right now to see, to look at towards this or the combination that they're bringing out from the side of Geek Fam as well, where, of course, when you bring in that Cho, they will possibly go into hunt out that Farsa, and Kagura is going to be a little bit slippery. So I'm looking at Geek Fam that has pretty much a little bit of everything. Mobility being checked up, damage output as well as burst, sustainability. It's all in the back. So I would say that Geek Fam side looking pretty much very well balanced. But RSG, how do they respond to this? That one last pick is going to be very, very vital.
Whoa, totally. Oh! This is huge. Resurgence take away the Dominus trademark this time, playing the Gusion. And this is extremely scary because Gusion can one-shot Ozoraveki, can one-shot Feeks. Purify and Flicker ain't gonna save you when that Sword Spike lands. So I like the risk Resurgence is going to take this game. They're going to be playing a composition revolving around their team. It's a 4-1, while Geek Fam want to play 1-3-1. Both going for the hyper carry, both sticking to the meta. This is gonna be game 1, and it's gonna be so big. Resurgence taking a big risk, but if they get this game, it's gonna be large momentum moving on into this series.
I feel like I really love how Resurgence responded to the Diggy and went on with their picks. However, Geek Fam needs to be careful. They really need to Cho and the Diggy really need to catch a lot of kills for carry over here, or else, or either the Kagura. But of course, we do want to see the carry being fed more, as we know Feeks, the king of KDA. Now it is time for the game. Let's see who is going to take game number 1. Geek Fam or Resurgence? Take it away, boys.
Now we're looking at Arts walking in towards the trap immediately. It could have actually been first blood, but he managed to walk away safely. So he's gonna be able to say, "Hey, good try right there." We're gonna be walking right back, but hey, it forces the Uranus to actually fall back. So that's good news enough. So they actually have a little bit more of that smooth cruise for Resurgence.
Yeah, that was a really good call by Resurgence. They expected them to try and go for some information up to the top rush, and you know they really punished Arts this time around. So he's not going to get the first wave as efficiently. And Resurgence, I like the way that they actually distributed their team composition instead of leaving. I was expecting Farza and KZP to be in one lane and LY4 and Sync into the other, or maybe some kind of variation between the two. But instead, they made sure that they had the Gushing, and I'm assuming they kind of knew that Arts was prepared to go against the Thalmus, so he did take a lot of armor emblems, and you can see the amount of damage that Sync was able to pump out. So let's see how this goes. So once again, Jason and Zorn going 1v1 against each other, and Zorn should be able to win this out after his burst. Jason forced to back away up into the top side.
Yeah, of course, soaking a little bit more EXP before he goes back. Well, Santa is actually suffering a little bit blow here. This is first blood going over to Geek Fam and Figs. The king of KDA representing Geek Fam here is still at it once again.
Yeah, and they're doing an absolutely phenomenal job right now. LY4, oh, they're gonna take this away. No, they can't. They reset it really, really quick. But notice down into the river, Zorn is actually trying to stop Atlas from actually pushing up into the base, pushing up into them, and allowing Geek Fam to actually catch up in that rotation play. So Zorn making a very good call to try and deny KCP that space. And now Zinc going to be dove under turret here. Zorn trying to land that third here. G couldn't go. Pulled back by the time reversal. Zinc holds on to his ground. Oh, unfortunately, the ultimate wasn't enough as the auto alarm bomb runs him down the lane.
Oh, this looks pretty bad. Like, we're looking at the second kill for Feeks as well, and we've definitely looked at Sync on how he moved it pretty well, but here comes KCP though. What a big burst coming from L14! They returned the favor! And right now, Resurgence will equalize that kill score.
That was so well played by KZP. Zorbeki had his ultimate, but he bothered to flicker just to catch him off guard. So a good return kill coming in from Resurgence, but that doesn't mean that Geek Fam is completely out of this bout. Turtle is going to be the next objective being contested by both teams. Geek Fam, they know this, but I think they might consider sacrificing or looking for a pick. Zorn is getting uncomfortably close. Feathered airstrike coming through. This is going to deny the space that Geek Fam wanted to get as Resurgence take control and take away the turtle.
Right now, we're looking at Zorn potentially going in for a setup, looking for a Sync once again, but here the Dragon kicks him back, but that's not going to be enough to actually burst him down, but they will go back to take down Zorn as he overextended a little bit. Great sort of mechanical skills being shown from both sides, but it's LY4 hopping right back in for those kills.
And you have to kind of give credit to Zorn there because he did have his flicker available, but he saw the amount of time that CC was on him and he knew he was going to die even if he flickered and shunpoed out of the way. The tenacity isn't going to be enough to save him in that situation, so he's being very efficient. But notice the rotations coming in from Resurgence as they play towards the top side of the map. You can see Sana, he's hovering, he's ready to respond to mid lane if necessary. As Geek Fam find the catch out to LY4, popping the Blazing Duet here. The Purify is going to keep him alive. Arts holding his ground, but he's going to be going down real soon. The first to fall from the side of Geek Fam, but a quick catch by Geek Fam, making sure that LY4 goes down as well. Good trades coming in. Geek Fam come up on top because they're trading their offlaner for LY4. In any case, that will always be worth it.
Yeah, and of course, although Arts did dive right in, it was a really great counter engagement once again coming from Geek Fam to respond it so well to find LY4. Of course, they tried to catch him at first, but he did pop out that Purify, so they have to actually do it on the second take, which did cost one of their members, which honestly isn't too much. Eventually, late game, Arts will still do what he needs to do with that sort of a split push, as well as getting most of all these Resurgence members way to occupy. But I do wonder, can Geek Fam right now contest for that turtle that just came up online?
It's going to be a little bit tough because they are sending members and prioritizing the top side of the map to try and punish Sync, and Arts can only do so much as Uranus. He can feed information, but I don't think he can steal away the turtle from the side of Resurgence without taking too much damage back, because remember, Sync is running an execute as well, so even the tankiest of members, if you're below 10% HP, you're within his kill range, and he doesn't even have to pop an ability to use it.
That's right, but speaking of popping abilities here, Fair Airstrike almost getting Arts clipped down, but he will still be able to actually survive, while Sync is already cutting the wave. RSG looking to eventually secure that bottom side tower, while the top side has been pushed over from the side of Geek Fam, and they are looking to actually do a little bit of trading right here. Well, there's of course that buff going over in the hands of LY4.
Yeah, they're just trying to alleviate the pressure for the side of Resurgence here. Oh no, Zorn getting a pretty big Jikundo, but again, he got caught off once again. Dominus is going to be the next to fall. A Sync making sure he lands his Sword Spike, and that's what I said. That's Sword Spike lands, you're going to die. And Sync just purchased this Lightning Truncheon, so the snowball has only just begun for Resurgence here. They're going to take control of this game for the next 3 minutes until Geek Fam look for the pickup that they're looking for, because Zorn hasn't been able to find it, but KCP with an amazing fatal chains there. The perfect match into the fatal links. A wombo combo of the century. They're trying to break Geek Fam's soul in this best of 5.
That was the most beautiful play that I've ever seen in the grand finals, and in the blink of an eye, they picked up all 3 members, Artsvik as well as Becky here, alongside with a blazing duet, just raised them through. Oh my, I really gotta see that in the replay once again if we ever gonna get that. But, oh my. KZP definitely surprised members of Geek Fam right across the wall.
Exactly. So you have, I mean, Geek Fam has to be very aware of KZP's flicker timing, because so far his catches with this ultimate has been phenomenal, as a lot of players just don't expect him to flicker right in the middle of the team just before his big armored mech combines back after, you know, the perfect match. And every single time he's caught Geek Fam out, and the Zoraveki has not been able to respond. Zorn, he can't make as many plays as he used to, as Resurgence have gotten a significant lead and have just hit their item power spike. LY4 noticeably has just bought the golden staff, so he is going to be pumping out damage like no tomorrow.
That's right, then things are looking pretty much scary. LY4 is looking to actually take one more buff away from Geek Fam, and with that, they are looking to slowly crash right in towards the bottom, as the next objective is still pretty much far away. So, with that being said, they really have to do something about the mid lane turret at the same time, but we're looking at Zorn being pretty much prepared to actually take on the fight. He's been stalking for quite some time here, but let's see what they possibly pulled out. Oh, those shots though.
Yeah, those shots are really, really painful. But Zorn, remember, he's in the back line here. He's looking for the catch, but Dominus, he's trying to dodge everything. He dodges the sword spike. He manages with 1 HP to survive, but they see Zorn in the back line. They immediately collapse on him. KZP isn't gonna let him get even remotely close to Resurgence. And once again, this game is just going downhill for the side of Geek Fam.
Wow, this is pretty much reminiscent of the sort of pain that they brought upon Orange Esports Reborn. And of course, with this being said, looking at that sort of the goal advantage of Resurgence, it's very, very hard for Geek Fam to actually get back up on track, unless if there's going to be a slight misstep coming in from the side of Resurgence over on towards extending to get some all these tier 3 turrets. So that's going to be the Lord coming up in pretty much 30 seconds from here. Maybe Geek Fam can look for a good fight and a pick off here. And the question is, how do they actually catch over on towards Sync here?
I mean, a lot of it has to do is whether or not Zorn can actually get to the right targets, but he's just so far behind compared to the rest of Resurgence. He's a whole level down. LY4 has reached level 15, and despite Feet starting off really, really well with a 3-1 KDA, he hasn't been able to catch up to LY4 after those fights. And now that Lord is coming back up, Zorn, look at the amount of damage he's taking. He just can't willy-nilly walk in and out of fights, and you can see just the significant decrease in the amount of emotes he's giving out because Resurgence is completely shutting him down.
And of course, LY4 has the power to also take this Lord by himself. And even more problems to come for Geek Fam because they can't even exit their base to do anything at all. All they can do, perhaps, is to look to clear up waves. Well, Sana, of course, looking for that 1v1, bringing Zorn pretty low. But he does have Becky to back him up with the rest of it. And this Lord itself is actually moving in towards the mid lane, which is going to be very, very much a high impact play needed from Geek Fam to respond to this.
Right now, Geek Fam have two options. Either Zorn figures out a way to either isolate LY4 or force Jason out of that feathered airstrike, or Dominus somehow lands that flame shot onto Jason again, but this is not looking good. They're trying to break into the inhibitor's base. Zorn looking for the angle, but just doesn't seem to find it yet, as Dominus using the yin-yang overturn early to clear out the waves. So Zoraveki, he can't walk up too far. He has to time this ultimate because right now he is in no position to save his team. Resurgence, just like a bank, are increasing their compound interest, gaining more and more gold as the game goes by. KCP forces himself to walk back out, but Sana has been isolated. He's going to be going down, but the immortality is going to save him. Are they able to turn this around as LY4 comes in with a huge blazing sweat? He's overextended. The tower shot has killed him. KCP, the next to fall. Sig is still one of the best mid laners in our country, has done it again and cleaned up the rest of the team, leaving Jason almost at 50% HP against Zorn. He's gonna end this game. Jason unfazed by Zorn. Tenacity takes this opportunity by their opponents if they reveal their hand too quickly. So haven't noticed they're getting rid of the big players
Natalia.
here. They're getting rid of the Kaja. Natalia is still open, and that just means that Jason is going to have a little bit more fun this game. However, Natalia isn't exactly, their strongest composition. As we've seen previously, Resurgence don't exactly perform at their very best in comparison to their Farsa comps, but this might be the time that Jason really steps up his game and really shows us like a Geek Fam level of Natalia destruction.
Hey, have you realized that Kufra is left right now? Because in the previous game, Resurgence and Geek Fam, when Resurgence picked Natalia, Geek Fam went with the Kufra pick for themselves. This time around, they pick out the Atlas and the Cho instead.
Well, I'm glad that you actually highlighted the Kufra because RSG could definitely go for the Kufra to prevent Cho from diving right in, as well as that Atlas that has been stolen away. So LI4 says, I want that Cloud. I'm not going to give it over to Feeks. And we are looking at the Jawhead, which sees very much high win rates in the hands of Sana.
I think this is a really good idea from Resurgence, actually. Taking the Jawhead is going to say, hey, no matter what hypercarry you have, you're always at risk of getting unstoppable forced ejector comboed.
Yeah, and at the same time, they can't pick the Jawhead to go up against the Natalia because we know the Jawhead is actually really good at picking out the Natalia. So that's taken away from Geek Fam at the moment.
I expect Geek Fam to actually ban out the high loss here. Instead they take away Farsa. That's kind of weird coming in from Geek Fam.
Well, I'm guessing it because it's gonna be quite a difficult task for them to actually focus down on towards that sort of long range mate. So they rather actually take it out. But great thinking coming from the side of Resurgence to actually negate Aurora to be picked up, because if Natalia to be coming anywhere close, with one tap of the button, you can easily just lock down that Natalia and just get everyone ganking upon her. So Geek Fam, of course, have to actually look for some other choice for mages.
There could be the Valier.
Come on.
Yesterday they went for a Terizla as well. I'm not sure if Terizla would be a good fourth pick though. Or it could be a
I mean, like Terizla. That's true, that's true. But, you know, I think... oh man, they didn't go for it. Alright, so it looks like Dominus is more comfortable on the Kagura just to have the safety of actually checking out brushes without having to face check them using the Atlas here. So that's probably their line of thinking. I personally would have preferred to see the Valir to kind of stop the engages, but it looks like Geek Fam is expecting Resurgence to go for a dive-heavy composition. As we can see, Sylvana as well as the Hylos. Personally, I think Geek Fam kind of messed up the draft when they decided to ban out the Farsa. They're giving too much respect to it. They should have banned out the Hylos because now Resurgence has a full dive composition. Their backline should be terrified.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting. I'm still for the last pick. I need to see the last pick.
Yeah, I want to see the answer to this because we're seeing Sync actually facing off against a possible Terizla so quick. So we big respect to Faraz for predicting this before everyone else. So you mentioned about the Terizla, they're gonna bring it in against Sync.
My loves, you know that you guys are the experts here. I'm just looking at previous stats. That's it. It's not that I know more than you guys. So since you guys are the experts here, what do you expect from these drafts? Who do you think is going to be at an advantage going into this game?
Aaron, you want to take this one?
Well, I'm looking at scalability. I'm thinking that RSG does have better scaling, if I would actually recall the entire draft correctly. And Geek Fam definitely still stands pretty much great chances because it's Zorn on that child once again, and I think that they have different sort of the rotations to be brought out now that they are on a different side.
Well, I think in terms of compositions from both of these teams, Geek Fam and Resurgence, right? We know what Resurgence's game plan is going to be, but remember that Jason on Natalia, if he scales well into this game and if it drags out to at least, you know, 13, 14 minutes and the gold is even, it's just going to open up another win condition for Resurgence because then they're going to have a very strong split pusher. Remember, Orzora Veki on the Terizla doesn't scale very, very well. Terizla is only strong from early to mid game, and then after that, he is just an engage bot and a tank for the team.
And that definitely is something to ponder about. But, well, other than being an engaged bot, I'm pretty sure that they will be able to actually pull some a little bit of bait. And Jason actually soaking a little bit too much. Flicker coming out to actually try to secure the first blood, but it won't happen here. Santa will flip him up, and in first blood might just be Sword taken down. And Resurgence once again getting that advantage here with Santa flickering in for that kill.
That is so unlucky. Geek Fam executed that perfectly, and they wanted to give Feeks the kill, but Jason survives with just a sliver of health, and RSG end up on top of that 50-50 there. Wow, that is... I am just shocked. If I was Geek Fam, I would be so upset because they played everything perfectly there.
Yeah, I felt definitely it could have been a little bit of better execution as well. They didn't really have to risk it all with that turret dive, though, if you ask me. But it would have been a little bit more cleaner, to say the very least. But you know, we're already looking at the second kill going over the side of Resurgence. Jason also getting pretty much a head start. So a lot of goal going over on the favor of RSG pretty much in the span of less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, Geek Fam really need to think about the certain 2v2s that they're in because there's no way that they're ever going to beat Jason and Sana in a 2v2, especially when you're using Arts as well as Dominus, who both lack gold and base damages in the early stages of the game. Like, Arts is going to be the main damage dealer, and he's going to take a butt ton as he goes down instantaneously, but Zorabeki coming in with a huge arrival. That's a huge executioner strike, turning it around as Geek Fam find the footing that they were looking for, collapsing onto Resurgence, who totally forgot that Orzora took the arrival, and his timing for that TP itself was impeccable.
It could not be any better, and of course they didn't see that one coming at all. Like, Arrival has been pretty much off the meta for quite some time, I must say. And this is definitely going to be a little bit of a fight back coming in from the side of Jason Ko. And there goes Sana as well, locking upon Feeks. hoping to actually flicker away, trying to actually look for that ejector, but a big stun coming out! It's gonna be able to actually find Jason, but the rest of RSG looking for Zorn. It's a little bit more of that sort of the effort to be put out, but RSG at least will be able to secure this turtle.
Yeah, I mean, Geek Fam, they made a good decision there. They traded 1-for-1. They were able to kill Jason off without losing another member because Resurgence actually had priority on that rotation. So Geek Fam understood, all right, I've got a very short window here. If I could just kill Jason, this will all be worth it. And even though they did lose Turtle, look at the goal lead. It is 800 in favor of Geek Fam right now. And this is as big of a goal lead as they're going to get right now until they play like Resurgence last game and become a bank and get that sweet compound interest.
That's right, and I'm definitely looking at how things are moving for both ends here. Like both are pretty much very similar in terms of rotation for the current time being. While there's going to be a little bit more of that movement inside the jungle for RSG, as we are looking at perhaps a little bit of stalking coming in from that Natalia, so maybe they might just want to actually catch over something, but that big fat wave over the top side, of course, needs a little bit more of that defending coming in from Santa after that.
Totally. And as we transition from early game to mid game here, Jason is going to be a little less effective because Geek Fam, they're starting to get 1 or 2 items enough to prevent Jason from one-shotting them, and that's why he's forced to take the execution instead of anything else. But let's keep an eye out for Jason here because he's got to make something happen in this game if Resurgence wants to win. So far, Zorn has been performing phenomenally, getting some great Atlas Fatal Link ult with the flicker, just like KZP in game 1. So, I mean, it's a little bit of a flex, but let's see how this goes.
Yeah, and Saint here will be charged upon, but oh my, he actually survives a little bit of that shot coming in from Dominus with the flame shot, but won't be able to actually take him down. Quick movements coming in from Saint himself, but Jason once again on the prowl, so maybe they might have known that his existence is somewhere within the jungle. So, sending the umbrella then towards the brush, not being able to actually catch them out, but there will be a little bit more of that sort of the contest over the bottom side. Not only did Geek Fam take that turret, now they also can take charge of the turtle if they want to, but Resurgence responds with a mid lane push here over onto the Dominus here as Jason almost actually takes him down. But oh my! Overturn! Dominus with that solo kill!
Oh, penalty zone coming in, locking in the rest of RSG members. LY4 trying to survive, manages to pick up Arts here. They're going to turn this around. It's a 3v4 situation as one more member Sync trying to go for the Imperial Justice into the back line. He does land it on Zorn, however, the tenacity is keeping him alive. Looks like RSG forced Geek Fam to actually recall here, but they can't even contest or have the damage to finish off this turtle fast enough before Geek Fam get back into the fight.
Oh, there goes, but and towards the 4 members of these Geek Fam players, but they are backing away. But there goes penalties of everybody! Oh no, this looks back for the side of RSG. They're on a retreat. Jason managed to escape for a little while, but it will be a chase coming from Feeks. 5-0, and we are looking at Geek Fam here taking it pretty much greatly. And man, they did stop them on the tracks.
Bro, that wombo combo was nasty. Oh, wait, Dominus might actually get punished here. LY4 could commit, but Zorn has already been ready. Yanks LY4 back into the team. He's not going to be able to survive, and he doesn't even have Purify to save him as it just came back up. A little unlucky here, but we're getting that sweet compound interest we were talking about before this. Geek Fam now in the driver's seat. Let's see whether they can take this lead and make sure that their foot does not leave the gas pedal.
And I'm definitely loving this whole idea. We've seen those wombo combos enter its effect, and look at how well they are just actually putting every single thing on the line in all these fights. It's just so beautiful to watch, and of course Resurgence need to actually respond. How exactly should they actually maneuver around all this sort of picks, because you can't exactly go diving into assassinate Dominus, as we've already seen Jason trying to do so, and the succession rate was not that great. He's been taken 4 times already, and Geek Fam already have this sort of draft where it's kind of like a very big counter towards the Natalia.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, I think GeekFam had that in mind. Azoroveki now going to take a lot of damage, but Body of the Smith and Penalty Zone, it's going to allow him to kind of just walk away from all this damage because Sync, he isn't the main carry and he did take Tenacity. So again, the trades are not looking very good for RSG at this point of time. But I kind of want to I want to poke your brain at something, Aaron, here, because we're looking at a composition from GeekFam that doesn't necessarily have to engage. They're kind of expecting RSG to make the plays, and when they do, GeekFam kind of wants to, like, go back into the fight, re-engage with the major ultimates being Fatal Links and the Penalty Zone from both Zorn as well as Azoroveki. And worst comes to worst, when that does happen, Dominus just has to use the Yin-Yang Overturn, so he literally just has to survive.
Exactly, there's so many layers of defense coming from the side of GeekFam that they could actually pull up, and here comes another Fatal Links! 2 of the members of RSG getting caught out. LY4 hopping at the back, looking for Dominus, but he will have to actually hop right back, and it's going to be a lost cause right here. Turtle over side of GeekFam, and Tree member down once again.
Yep, and Resurgence make the same mistake again. They go a little too hard on the engagement, and LY4, despite him trying his very best to kind of isolate the area, Sync was trying to run away, but ended up getting caught by Arts himself. They're just making sure that they're mixing up the threats every single time. In Resurgence, they just have to figure out a way to really get into that backline, because Feeks, with 8 kills, he's pretty much already stacked up his Bounty Hunter, and he's going to hit level 15 very, very soon. LY4, let's compare the items right now. It's 3 core items to 2 core items in comparison between both of the hyper carries of each team.
Yeah, and I think that their only hope for the side of Resurgence right now is just hoping that they can actually catch Dominus without some of all these frontliners actually butting in the way and Sync! Oh, this is pretty much a big deletion, and what could he actually do? We've already talked about how immobile Sylvana can be, and not only did they actually stop the Natalia, they also managed to get Sync quite a number of times already.
Yeah, and even though that Sylvana has the higher pick potential, Azoroveki is like, you know, Terizla is just a different variation of Sylvana. They both have very similar ultimates. They both have the very same idea of looking to engage into the enemy team, except the only difference between the two is that Sync has options that are a little bit more slippery in comparison to Azoroveki, who just wants a face tag, but the wombo combos are coming in, and once again, Sana is caught out. Penalty zone coming out for Azoroveki, locking in Sync. There's just no way they can actually beat this composition until they scale up into this game. They're taking these risky 50-50s that they shouldn't be doing, especially when GeekFam have such big ultimates in their arsenal. They just have to bait them out.
Yeah, and it's so hard to even do that. Like, I don't think that Resurgence could even, like, bait out all these sort of big ultimates without risking their lives at this point in time. Every single time that they collide, at least 2 to 3 members of Resurgence will eventually falter. Like, KZP, although he's supposed to be, like, the primary tank and then sort of the feature between 2 of these teams, I don't see him actually lasting all too long to find a way to get into the back line to even get anywhere near Feeks. And Feeks is now 10. Oh, I mean, nobody's going to be able to stop this guy, and he's going to be able to reposition himself. There we go.
KZP trying to disengage. Glorious Pathway comes through. Sync, he managed to stop the engage, and now Azoroveki also uses ultimate. This is big for RSG because that means they're going to be able to take the Lord without having to worry. They get the catch onto Zorn. They're jumping onto this Atlas. Can they kill him off? Yes, they can. Zorn unable to get, waiting for his perfect match to come back off of cooldown, gets punished for it. Resurgence, just a couple more of those, at least 4 more to catch up to GeekFam at this point in time. They defend the first Lord push, but there's still 1 more that they have to defend if they want to come back into this game for Resurgence.
Yeah, of course, that's a very vital pickoff right there. And now to look at it, really, the weakest link coming in from the side of GeekFam is basically their beefiest unit, to say the very very least, like, it's either you gotta go in for those guys who have already go in with the engagement, like you did mention earlier, if the show goes in, or Atlas. So after that, you can actually flip the switch with Sana preparing that sort of ejector to take them in towards uncharted terrains, and now we're looking at Secure dodging it pretty well, and Zoran once again added with those sort of taunts.
But remember what we were talking about the earlier stages of the game. Looking at the team composition, they're just waiting for, you know, the later part of the game just so they can activate Jason so he can get split pushing power on those side lanes. He is the most mobile other than, you know, LY4 in this particular composition. And you can see that with Zoraveki, his job not only is to look for those big engages, but to also maintain side wave control against this Natalia. So Jason, he's playing literally 2 to 3 games as RSG is trying to survive.
Yeah, of course, a lot of pressure on his shoulders here, but eventually he'll be able to actually make it right there, as he's already got half the C's as well. Of course, he just have to complete a few more major items in the bag to be pretty much successful in those sort of split attempts, while he's constantly putting pressure over the bot side while winning a little bit more from the top lane. Now, RSG having Arts only in front of them, they are definitely thinking about what comes next out of this, because Geek slowly has negated a little bit more of that sort of pressure that they've been putting upon inside of the jungles of Resurgence.
And Resurgence are playing this really, really smart. They're making sure that they're splitting up the map as much as possible. Is Zoraveki gonna get caught out a little bit, but they know that he's a little too tanky, especially since he's at level 15. And he has that, you know, Festival of Blood. So if he lands on multiple targets and the wave, the spell vamp is gonna be a little too much for now until they get life spell vamp reduction and healing reduction for the side of RSG.
And looks like the Geek wants to actually go in for the catch once again. Fatal Links coming up, but the LY4 goes in with the flicker. But KZP now being stuck, although he has the glorious pathway, he will eventually fall. Same goes to Sync as well. They cannot escape out of the raft here, and of course, this will be 2 more kills in the back for the side of Geek. But look what we have, a little bit of split push and an arrival coming from Zoraveki. They have expected that push coming from Natalia, but LY4 also moving very, very quickly to try and support that cause. And with that being said, they are pretty much occupied by the quarters of the Lord, but oh my, Dominus has been caught out! This is a big catch coming from Jason here, as LY4 hops right into the back as well. Arts will go in for a chase, and they will be able to actually take down LY4. But this will go on a reset, as RSG rotated well enough to stop the Lord.
A little bit of a mistake coming in from LY4. He probably could have survived that if he kited down instead of kited back up towards the top side of the map, because he should have known that Geek Fam were rotating down. I think it was a really good call coming in from RSG. However, I think the disengage could have been a little bit better. But remember, Dominus, Zoran, and Feeks, all 3 of them died in trade for LY4. So at the end of the day, this was so worth it for RSG, because now they prevented Luminous Lord from getting taken away. They've scaled up to the 41k mark, which means that the cores are very close to full build, if not already has it. And the rest of the members, especially the supports, like notice KZP, he survived a lot longer because of the revitalize and the items that he had when they were fighting on the bottom side of the map. So if that isn't an indication that RSG have finally reached a pinnacle point where they're scaling into the game, I don't know what is.
Yeah, and of course, they are just scaling better and better as time goes by. And I think that for Geek Fan, they understand that they have already reached that pinnacle already. And oh my, speaking of which, pretty much a couple of all these flips will be able to actually punish Sync for the 6th time. And KZP is just looking by and like, okay, guys, we are here. You can't do this yet again. You can't start the Lord. And KCP could definitely soak in a little bit of damage, but here comes a little bit of flip over on the sword, while LY4 is getting hunted down. Flicker coming out from the side of Ars, definitely a really big kill to call, but KCP has already been taken down, so LY4 will hop right in with the Blazing Duet. He's got to escape though, but now a little bit more time being bought there by the Natalia, but Geek Fam has a better chance at the Lord right now.
Yeah, a very preemptive arrival coming in from Azora Venki here. I think he should have just let the Natalia rotate so he could keep on pushing and maybe even get a bottom inhibitor had he just continued to push that in that particular wave. Because again, he had a little bit of a wave. I think the decision making behind it was, all right, Jason cut off the second reinforcement wave in the backline, so therefore I wouldn't have enough minions to actually clear this up. Jason, can he survive? He's trying to very hard, but he's able to be ejected into safety thanks to Sana and a little bit of help from Sync to kind of shoo them away, shoo Geek Fam away.
Yeah, the good news is that Resurgence should be able to actually defend this because both Notorious as well as the Cho is not present over the mid side, but they might still have to actually soak in a little bit of that pressure there. The base is about to be cracked right open. Arts will be able to actually purchase that immortality, but how long can they hold? The bottom side has already had minutes escort their way, and they lose to interior turns right there. Oh, there it looks pretty bad here. Fell legs in towards the middle there, and Arts will be able to connect that Waiter Dragon, but of course a little bit of return favor right there. But there's still 4 more members of the side of Geek Fam. Make that all 5 as we're looking at Geek Fam equalizing it 1-1.
An extremely convincing game coming in.
No KZP, at first he is having a lot of laughter as well as smiles. Now, looks to be a little bit more
team is picking.
a little bit more of that sort of the thing going on inside his head where he really needs to make sure this draft must be perfect. But we're already seeing a couple of all these bands, which is going to be Atlas, Kaja, as well as Selena and Natalia.
Respectable here, but now Geek Fam have to make a really tough choice because first pick has so far been so detrimental to a lot of teams. Oh, they don't reveal too much here. They instead go for the Kufra, and there's many different ways to design a composition around him. But Resurgence is kind of, you know, sniffing it out. Like, okay, Geek Fam has some strong pick potential on top of team fighting capabilities, so they're expecting Geek Fam to go more team fight oriented. So they're gonna start off with their solid picks, the Claude as well as the Uranus. Those are the core compositions, and this Thamos, they're hopefully going to make sure that Uranus goes up against this Thamos in a 1v1, just so they can brick wall Arts.
And like, this is definitely the best scenario for the side of Resurgence, and remember, they opened up the far side, so this is going to be given towards the side of RSG. And the last time that they've held on towards this, Jason did end up as the MVP with some of the highest kills. So is this going to be pretty much the repeat of game number 1 as we are looking at another Aurora ban right here?
I think they just want to take out the Aurora from the hands of Dominus so that, you know, you don't get the freeze out. There's a lot of, you know, stopping power when it comes to team fights. The Aurora can save and also start a lot of team fights for side of the Geek Fam. But taking that away, of course, disables them, but I'm pretty sure they have a lot of other picks. The problem is here, I'm not sure if they're going to go for a Greenware pick later on for Geek Fam because Resurgence has already showed them how to defeat a Farsa comp.
Yeah, personally, I think Geek Fam should have, instead of Jawhead in this situation, I think they should have might have considered, you know, either getting rid of the Valir this time round, because I feel like Resurgence, like, Valir is going to be so good here. It denies a lot of space, it denies a lot of engages from Geek Fam, or they could go for the Diggy route, but even then, that could be very, very scary if, you know, they get flanked from an awkward angle, because we are talking about Zorn here.
So right now, I think for Geek Fam, yeah. What's up, Contra?
No, you go ahead first. And of course, I'll bring up my point later on.
I'm just looking at what picks they're gonna go for. Are they still gonna go for the Kagura to reach the Farsa and the back lines? I mean, they have to lock down on basically both the Claude and the Farsa here. So they're probably gonna go for the Cho and the Kagura.
Your team is
Okay.
Most likely so.
Right.
Like, they can definitely do that, but I'm looking at the Kagura as a little bit more of that defensive measure than going in for pretty much aggressive method, because if that Kagura goes pretty much all the way in towards that corner, there's still going to be LY4 to worry about. So this final pick, once again, the most important of it all, that might just actually change things. But remember, Genflix, the only team that has actually brought this up is going to be RSG, with Sana going on that pick most likely, or could it be pretty much somebody else on that multi-roll?
Oh man, this is gonna be a really hard game for both teams because what it really comes down to is just skill. Can Zorn actually use his bouncing ball to stop the spatial migration and the engagements coming in from the Guinevere? That's gonna be really difficult to do because both of them can kind of hop over the walls and they have to take flicker as well just to keep that playmaking capability. But yeah, looking at the draft, Geek Fam wants to play the 1-3-1. They want to maintain mid control, rotate towards one of the weaker lanes, get priority, and punish Resurgence with picks, while RSG is playing a 1-4 composition, using Farsa, part of the 4, as a kill squad. They stick together, fast rotations using Uranus as literally a brick wall against any offlaners or potential dives.
5 seconds.
All right, well, as it looks like this is going to be game number 3. Boys, I want your predictions right now for this game. Who's going to win? Contra and Gideon. Take it away.
Oh, man. Of course, I usually would prefer to let the game do the talking. I love both drafts here. I especially like Sana on that Guinevere. So, I gotta say, I'm looking forward for what's about to come, as we are already seeing both sides putting a lot of all these pressure over the mid lane as well as top lane. Well, there will be a little bit of invasion coming from the side of Geek Fam, which I'm not too sure. Can Jason deal with the heat?
Jason might be in a little bit of trouble, but it looks like they're gonna be forced off of their buff as Geek Fam has first rotation. They should be able to take this away, but can they respond to this? Sana getting a great spatial migration. He's already using the Vengeance to actually go through, but the backline, Arts trying to kill off Jason. Oh, he doesn't actually pull it off. He wasn't able to get the reset jump off of his passive through the Molten Sights in time, is forced backwards. Even though they did lose the buff, Geek Fam suffers some casualties up on that top side of the map.
Yeah, of course, it's Arts as well, so he's going to be put on a little bit of that setback, but it's not too much of a huge deal as he's facing off against Guinevere, which I feel he can still definitely hang on towards his lane very much easily. But, you know, I felt Geek Fam might have definitely bit way too much that they could chew right there. And speaking of which, we're already seeing Jason here trying to actually negate him from scaling even further, having that great knockup. Oh, but of course, this is just going to be setting Arts aside as he will not be able to actually get anywhere close to the minions until he hits the tower.
Now, notice that Geek Fam is playing a 1-3-1 composition, so their side lanes need to be strong. They need to be able to duel without any problems whatsoever, and against the Uranus lane, that's not going to go too well. But the Thalmus versus Guinevere, there is literally no way that Arts could actually get a kill in a 1v1 against him. And Ozora Veki, you bit off a little too much that you can chew. Sig still brick walling this team. The rotations, it's too late. They have overextended as RSG is able to respond to this. They've already picked up 2 kills, and now Zorn is on the chopping block. Can they pick him off? And yes, they do. He turns back into the team with the Tyrant's rage there. Unfortunately, he knew he was gonna bite the dust.
Yeah, and of course, Geek Fam, time after time, mistakes after mistakes. Doesn't seem like they have learned out of it. Oh, but here comes that flicker coming from the side of Zoreveki. This might just be pretty good, but it will only buy a little bit more time. Whoa, that wall charge though busted him off, and once again delayed it off the map.
Okay, I wasn't. I'm too used to seeing Cho's having tenacity, so seeing Ozora Veki from a quarter of his HP getting instantly exploded there, really hard to watch. But up in the top side here, it looks like they did a little bit of a lane swap. They want to make sure that Cho is going to have a much more difficult matchup here as Arts slowly walks away. His Molten Sights ain't going to help him here, but the counter engage coming in from Zorn. This might be their opportunity as they stop the Feathered Airstrike onto Jason. They've got their priority targets as Geek Fam look to pull this one through. Resurgence looking for a return kill somewhere, anywhere as they disengage. Geek Fam showing that they aren't afraid of RSG even in the worst of situations.
Yeah, of course, they actually flexed up a little bit of that muscle that they can still pull something off, and it's great that they finally catch on towards Jason, which have been pretty much elusive time and time again from the start of the match. They've been looking for that kill to put him up pretty much on the back pedal, but no, he would eventually fall in that sort of second skirmish. But now, of course, both sides looking for a little bit of that reset. Well, there will be that attempt of the turtle coming from the side of RSG. So far, whoever's on the red side has got some pretty good win rates, but I'm not saying it pretty maturely, as we are still having Zord very confidently being inside that pixel brush. Well, these shots coming out, and Uranus is down.
Oh no, this is bad because Resurgence actually had the positional advantage onto Turtle, and remember, nobody actually has a retribution to secure this Turtle, so Resurgence wanted to kind of hold their ground. Top lane is doing absolutely fine, like Guinevere can run around circles around Thamos forever, but losing Uranus just means that they have to give up their positional advantage here and fight a 3v4, and they can't really do much as Azora Vecchi is stopping Jason from going forward here, as KZP, again, tries to steal it away with the power of nature. Unfortunately, did not secure it fast enough.
Yeah, and right now, of course, with those sort of the movements coming in from Geek Fam, they are looking pretty much great to move in and out of all these sort of the open space of the jungle, but they will look to secure that bottom side of the tower first. So here comes a little bit more output of damage coming from the side of Jason, just to clear off a little bit more waves with that Phantom Airstrike, of course. But over top side, it seems to be way too cleared off, so Resurgence might be able to dish out some damage and hope to secure a counter trade.
Yeah, I think as of right now, Geek Fam have definitely adapted. Oh, here comes the dive onto Arts as they want to actually secure this top side. And yes, they do. They secure the top lane. They trade it 1-for-1 objectives, and the goal is just purely even here. KZP having to disengage, sync the next to follow up with the concentration as well. He's going to be absolutely fine. And notice how Geek Fam has adapted into this particular game, right? Zorn has been such a nuisance to Resurgence that a lot of the fights, they are making sure that they are keeping eyes on Zorn. This allows Azora Vecchi to actually go under the radar, and, you know, he has been managing to stop and cancel the feathered airstrikes from Jason time and time again.
Yeah, and right now, Art's being stuck in between. This looks pretty bad, but he has enough lifesteal to keep himself alive. Oh my, look at that sort of regen coming out of him as he's definitely healing himself back up. Concentrated energy for Sana as we are looking at Dominus here. Trying to actually take out that tower, but it just needs a couple more autos to get it pretty much off.
Turtle resurrecting soon.
Yep, they just have to kind of hold their ground here as Geek Fam. They're sort of winning the mental game as of right now because RSG still have their eyes fixated on Zorn, and until they can kind of like remember that, okay, Azora Vecchi has options to get on top of Jason, we just need to protect Jason when he goes into that feathered airstrike, then the game can be a lot easier to play. Because remember that Azora Vecchi, he's not taking tenacity, he took high and dry, so he's building full damage, which makes him susceptible to even just a single hit from either a wild charge or even a feathered airstrike.
That's right. Right now, we're looking at level Y4. We'll be able to actually secure that wave. They didn't really need it, that Blazing Duet, though, but of course, just a little bit of assurance coming out. While the top side, we are having Arts as well as Sana taking on that 1v1, which will eventually change. Sana, pretty much preemptive movements, will be able to actually move aside and, of course, eventually give way towards the side of Geek Fam. But well, we're talking about so many of these brick walls. Zorn, KZP, as well as Sync. Just, you know, what can they do to each other? I'm not even sure anymore.
Yeah, and it looks like they're rotating towards the top side of the map. Zorn is being very aggressive just to kind of make sure that, you know, choke points within the top side of the map are being cut off and rotational paths are being, you know, relayed. The information is being relayed to the team, and Resurgence a little bit slower on this trade, but it's going to be absolutely fine as, you know, the next big objective. Oh, Sana! Oh, he gets caught off guard, and even with the Vengeance not able to survive, I don't think Resurgence is able to capitalize on it, and Geek Fam finally find a profit. KZP, oh, he's getting really low. Oh, L14 actually just gets one shot by Dominus and Feeks as well. Oh, unfortunately, you know, Dominus is the next to fall, but pure profit coming in from Geek Fam. They've now developed a 2K goal lead against Resurgence, and we did see in Game 2 what a little lead can do for a team for the likes of Geek Fam.
Oh no, over the top side, Jason gets bursted, and deleted, but it will be a 1v1 exchange, as we did see Becky going down as well on his Cho. Now, Zorn's going to be walled off, and he has to flicker away, but that flicker brings him straight towards the side of Sync. Tyrant's Rage to bring him over the wall, and Zorn is still pretty much beefy. He's actually surviving through it all, and Sync might just actually be in trouble, but that's going to be a big shield coming out, and he will be walking in out alive! Sync now returns the favor and just smacked them down once again.
Oh my god, Sync actually survived that interaction there. Luckily, I'm pretty sure he already has Oracle, and that's why the Yin Yang overturn didn't do as much damage as I would have expected. Let's have a look right now, and oh, he actually has a Dominance Ice. Okay, so that means he did take some magic resist emblems there to actually survive that damage from Dominus, as he already has the Lightning Truncheon. Really nice play here, but let's see what are the next moves, because Resurgence, once again, we talked about the composition, having it all, the Lord Steel,
oh wow,
a 3 magic no, and one shots LY4 before the blazing duet. Lord has been slain and goes over to Resurgence's side, but Geek Fam is gonna run Resurgence and look to force to make a mistake here, as LY4 has to sit in the gray death screen for another 20 more seconds. Geek Fam have full control until Lord starts walking out of that base.
Yeah, now we're looking at the side of Dominus, now opening things up. Sync right at the front. He will need to actually clear things off, and with that sort of Lord going over the top side, they won't be able to actually escort it all too well, because they've already lost Sana, and all they can do right now is, of course, try to actually look for perhaps a pickoff, but Geek Fam members are still pretty much on the top side here. And now that LY4 is pretty much in position, but what can they possibly do? They're looking for Jason once again. This is going to be looking like a really good dive for the side of Geek Fam, but they are actually fighting too much. Let Zorn getting straight out, as it will be only Arts being left alive here, while Cho is pretty much outside. He's being left all alone, as 4 members of Geek Fam has been taken out. Then somehow the Lord survives.
That was so huge from Resurgence. Like, I thought this was going to be a mistake to actually go for another team fight after what happened just now. And after the pick from Jason, I thought it was going to be an easy clap. But LY4, with the help of Sana, going in for the long flank was such a good call. They catch out Geek Fam's backline. Feeks had no chance. Zorn wasn't able to peel for the team. So Resurgence, as of right now, all they have to do to break Geek Fam's composition is to get into flank angles against Geek Fam. That way, if they play a front to front, Resurgence is bound to lose. So a great adaptation 12 minutes into this game.
Yeah, and right now, 12 minutes felt like forever for both of these guys who are playing, because any single mistake could have cost them the game. Like, we're already down to only a couple of turrets left for the side of Geek Fam, pretty much even in terms of numbers. But now, well, this is gonna be Sync pretty much chasing over the side of Becky, but oh no! That's a big trapping setup, and LY4 instantly gets deleted. Of course, in exchange for Becky, it's not gonna be well worth it. Well, big brain plays coming from the side of Geek Fam.
Yeah, Vecchi is just somehow always finding LY4. This is becoming a very major issue here. LY4 really needs that Winds of Nature fast, and Sync is taking a bit of damage. I don't think he really cares about it for the most part. Zorn knows that he can absorb it, and now they just have to watch the position of Feeks here, and also be very, very careful of where Zorn is. As long as they keep tabs on Zorn and as well as Vecchi, this shouldn't be happening for the side of Resurgence.
Yeah, and Zorn now, of course, get caught up. As KCP definitely sets it up for some really great exchanges, as we're looking at Jason getting that one kill. Sada getting a person down. Oh my goodness! He actually comes right back! Oh, what is going on here? As we're looking at Resurgence here, we're trying to actually take down Arts, as being a little bit more tough to actually deal with. But that exchange was so beautiful. Did you just see Sada actually almost dropping off, and he gets back up on track?
That was a perfectly timed vengeance. Now, Vecchi, he's trying his best to salvage the situation. It's a team wipe. Resurgence have cracked open Geek Fam and take game 3. You were right. You and Faraz were right. This is going to be a full match. 3 games 2 games, 5 games.
So they can actually choose
Oh.
whether
was-
whether if Geek Fam wants to retain
Your
or
team
not.
is
Right.
banned.
You know, I was just thinking about Geek Fam taking red side. It's going to give him the advantage of winning this game. But now that they're on the blue side again, it sort of disrupts my mindset. Because now they're forced to take first pick again. What do they want to pick for themselves? Okay, this time around, they respect the Farsa. They respect the Farsa. They don't want to deal with the Feather Strike. You guys know the damage is crazy. The stun is crazy. What do they want to ban? Do they want to ban the Atlas? Okay,
Your
Selena's left
team
open.
is banning.
Oh my goodness, I'm just watching you grow up after these passes. You're calling out picks and bans. I'm probably gonna lose my job, but at least it was
bro,
to you.
I still need you guys. I need you guys to help me out here. I'm just copying from what you guys have taught me.
Oh, it feels so good. But okay, let's get back into the draft here. Resurgence, they have to make a couple of decisions because this last ban is going to determine whether or not they're going to go into a Farsa comp or not. And they have to be very afraid of what Geek Fam is actually going to pull out here because now that they
Your
don't have
team
Farsa,
is picking.
what do they do? What do they have to worry about? And Resurgence, they answer with, hey, we're going to get rid of Claude. So now Feeks has to play something a little bit more dangerous. Like Carrie has more power, except she isn't as safely mobile as the Claude. The Granger, there is a lot of counterplay to him now that they've nerfed his Death Sonata, making him vulnerable when he actually is trying to roll away and use his shots. Geek Fam here, maybe gonna get the Kufra again this time around, but instead they actually go for the Uranus to shut down Resurgence.
No, but
Oh.
Selena's left all out in the open.
Well,
Oh my god, Faraz,
like,
you make me so
we
proud,
were-
dude!
Kufra.
Kaja's left
Oh,
out in the
what?
open,
Your
guys.
team is picking.
they're not going for that. So Geek Fam actually have pretty much a lot of space to actually take this one. But why exactly did they actually get the Kufra first? Because, like you said, they could have gone for the Selena. They could have gone for that Kaya. But no, they are hoping for something else. And this is going to be pretty much a big switch as we're looking at members of Resurgence getting that Granger instead of what they went for early on.
Yes.
But, well, seems like they are actually clapping
Your
their hands
team
right there.
is
So
picking.
maybe they have something set up. Oh, okay.
Why is he clapping? Wait, did he
Because they
expect
know they
this?
guaranteed the Kaja. Yes, they did. They expected everything. They expected Geek Fam to lock in a marksman. The question was whether they were going to take Selena or Kaja there. And Resurgence very prepared for this. And Geek Fam, you can say the exact same thing. They understand, okay, we have to choose one of these two options because there's no way we're going to get both. And now coming into the second half, they literally have the exact same comps as of right now. Resurgence could deviate to a 1-3-1 here. So I'm expecting Geek Fam to start banning
Your
out the
team
fighters.
is banning.
Falmos, Cho, one or the other. They could pick up the Cho for themselves, but it's most likely that they're going to ban out the Falmos.
Hey,
Possibly
Mr.
the Guinevere.
Mr. Experts, if you were Geek Fam, would you have Kaja and Selena as your picks? Because they could have done both. Would you do that?
Very risky. It is doable, but of course, what are you gonna back it up with is gonna be the question. You might
Your
risk
team
a lot of
is
all
picking.
your better marksmen on the table to be eliminated, but we're looking at Geek Fam very much pressurized. Like they look very
Your team
concerned.
is
They are
picking.
taking out that Gushin out of
Okay.
this matchup. So this is gonna give Santa his Tamus.
I don't think Geek Fam should have banned out the Gushin. I think they should have either gotten rid of the Sylvana or maybe considered getting rid of another side laner like the Thamos instead. Because giving Gushin over to Resurgence at this point means nothing. Doesn't really mean too much. It just means that your supports are going to have a little bit of trouble. But Geek Fam actually taking a page out of RRQ's book itself from MPL
Your
Indonesia
team is
locks
picking.
in the Mincetar as a means to say, hey, we don't want Rondo, we don't want Tyrant's Rage, we don't want people to actually get out when they commit to a fight, because that King's Glory is going to lock them in, tell them, hey, no more movement abilities, no more flicker battle spells, we don't even care anymore.
And
But
this is going to be
I have
really
a-
huge.
Guys, I have a question for you guys. The magic damage, is that enough on the side of Geek Fam?
It's a hyper carry based meta, so the magic damage is kind of supplementary to how much damage that Feeks can pump out with that carry.
Well,
Right.
Now we've already got the sort of the composition being locked in from both sides. Of course, I do think that the magic damage is okay. Not too high, not too low. But of course, the pickup potential is really high coming from Geek Fam. But this could be potentially our last game of the evening. Can Resurgence clinch the trophy right here, or will Geek Fam actually make the comeback, learning from the Indonesian meta with that Mincetar being brought in?
I want a game 5, boys. What about you guys?
Honestly, at this point, I'm so committed to this grand finals that I have to say yes. I do want to see all 5 games here, and it's going to be a tough game because Resurgence, their composition is high risk, high reward. With sorry, not high risk, high reward, but a lot safer in comparison to Geek Fam, who is high risk, high reward with the Mincetar, with Dominus on the Selena. They're looking to pick apart RSG in smaller skirmishes.
Now we are seeing, of course, a lot of all these sort of possibilities out there for both teams. Geek Fam now playing a little bit safer inside one territory, not wanting to be clipped off once again on their red side. While over on towards the side of Resurgence, we are already seeing them, of course, taking their own buff, but they are going to be giving this one away, so they know how to actually trade it in the opposite section here. So great movements coming in from Resurgence.
Yep, really good movements. It looks like they basically have the exact same compositions. They're both playing 1-3-1. The only difference is that Geek Fam has better pick potential, while Resurgence has better team fight potential overall. Oh, Abyssal Arrow landing onto KZP. This is huge. He gets hooked backwards. He's forced the flicker out super early, and Dominus misses by inches with that flame shot that would have killed KZP. Nicely played from Resurgence, managing to defend against a potential pick. Oh no, Jason jumps right onto Feeks here after the Abyssal Arrow from Dominus landing onto Sync. And again, it's going to be a battle for the mid lane here for both Geek Fam and RSG, as both of them are playing a 1-3-1 composition.
Yeah, and over on towards this sort of composition, we are already seeing pretty much similar patterns coming out from both sides, of course, but Arts, of course, struggling to actually secure the revert craft. He will possibly have to give this away for Resurgence, having 3 men up top. So this is going to be a little bit more of those sort of the camping by the corners of the river, as we are looking at Jason taking a little bit of that shot.
Yep, he just has to kind of hold his ground for now, and you can see that this is a very slow game for either side because they can't afford to make mistakes here. Resurgence playing passive because that's what their comp is designed to do. They want to play a little bit more passive. They want to wait for the mistakes from Geek Fam before they collapse. And KZP, he's already there. He gets sucked on in by a big play, and Jason coming in with a flicker and the Tyrant's Rage to push them all back to disengage the team. But LY4 still alive with a little bit of life. The crescendo, using the Rondo to get on out of there, but the Rhapsody just eliminates Arts with that final hit of crit. Sync trading 1 for 1. Both sides, look at that goal graph. It is absolutely even.
Yeah, now, of course, both sides hoping to actually separate themselves apart with this sort of internal goal that's pretty much going to be doing a lot of difference with Sword just guarding by the corners here. Jason might not be able to actually move right in. But there's going to be a big stun over the side of Jason as the bouncing ball actually connects. But oh my! Resurgence actually steals the turtle away, and they will be able to actually also find Arts at the same time. But here comes Becky though. They're diving in to actually catch Jason. Jason bouncing off, and Becky goes down as well. Sing now tries to actually turn back, and it will be Dominus there. Brian dancing across, and Santa arrives. Double kill. 4 kills in the back already for Resurgence, but 3 in the back for this fight.
Oh my goodness, this game is getting difficult because now RSG have actually capitalized on Geek Fam's mistake. Geek Fam, they've got to stick to their game plan of waiting to counter-engage Resurgence. If not, Zorn is going to be less effective trying to be aggressive with the King's Glory, because Resurgence could say, oh, you dropped down the King's Glory? Sure, we could sacrifice potentially 1 member, disengage, and then re-engage into the fight because they have some really good engagement options to begin with. So Geek Fam need to stick to their game plan and stick to what their composition is good at. If not, it's just going to be going downhill for the side of Geek Fam.
Yeah, and of course, we're already looking at Geek Fam here, trying to actually do something a little bit more different, where they're splitting a couple of all these members all across the map, but Vix is actually getting chased down there by Jason, and oh my, over the top side though, big sort of shots coming out from Sync as well as LY4 as they were looking to secure that double kill, and that might just actually be a triple. Here comes the flicker, SKCP get the kill as well. Now Resurgence opens up the top side, and Geek Fam slowly faltering apart.
Exact same mistake being made. Geek Fam not sticking to their game plan here. They're getting a little too agitated, and Resurgence slowly getting into their head. They just have to keep waiting out these fights time and time again. Make Geek Fam flinch, because the moment they flinch, Resurgence will grab them by the ankles and pull them under the water.
Yeah. Now, of course, Geek Fam now being a little bit more careful on their decisions. They don't seem to want to challenge this one, but oh, great attempt with the missile arrow. But this will still be Resurgence error actually taking the sort of the extra goal in the bag. Now, Zorvecki all alone though, and Jason hoping to actually connect a little bit of that sort of catch. Things are actually looking so well for Resurgence to actually take the title. If they can keep up with this sort of pressure, they need to actually exert a little bit more force. But of course, one step at a time, Zor's still trying to actually make sure that he keeps the tradition alive. But as for now, I'm really looking towards both sides here. Like, LY4 already so far ahead. Usually when he's this ahead, it's very hard for them to actually drop the ball. But Vix still needs a little bit more. He doesn't seem to have enough farm to get him going.
Yeah, and not to mention that this is a pretty bad matchup for Feeks as well, because oh no, King's Glory's already been put up. Looks like Zorn is going to be the first to fall. A very big utility ultimate being used, and now they want to pick up Zorvecki with a Divine Justice as well. RSG going in half. They come in with a really big ultimate and turnaround here, as the rest of Geek Fam losing 3 members. This is just pure profit from the side of Resurgence.
And now, of course, RSG, every single fight, they seem to be winning it all, and now they are taking 2 turns in a row right towards the mid lane. And what can Geek Fam do? They are just going to be clearing this one off, and Resurgence actually plays it up very, very safely. Instead of like taking that mid lane tower, which they could have actually secured, they choose to actually back away, go in for that reset. They know they actually need to get themselves 100% focus to get that next sort of objective. Oh, perfect Iron Wage hits onwards too. So they are the first one to fall, and now Becky coming from the back as well, and they are looking to actually take down LY4, but he still survives. How in the world does he survive? And finally the shutdown in the hands of Zorvecki, but the fight is not over yet. And for now, they call it a little bit of that sort of a truce, but our Resurgence have already gotten 3 kills out of that, and they can't open up the bot side.
Geek Fam, you can't keep doing this. Oh, Sync actually landing on the Divine, the Imperial Justice on up top of Zorvecki. Zorvecki using his ultimate to try and get out, but once again, he gets hit by the stun from Sync. An easy follow-up for the side of Resurgence, and now they are a very clear 5k ahead. But remember that Geek Fam, right? These guys aren't the kind to back down from a fight. They will wait, they will calculate the odds until they can completely team wipe Resurgence, and that 5k difference is not going to mean anything. So Resurgence needs to slowly play this game and look for more advantages until they have a 10k to safely say, yes, I will end this for them.
And of course now they're just bleeding all over the place, and Geek Fam doesn't seem to have an answer to actually respond, and RSG is actually playing so smartly. Like, they are just looking to actually punish them again and again, and right now they can definitely toy around if they want to, but if they make a really big mistake diving in towards the base, then I think Geek Fam might actually get a little bit more of that chance to actually come back up. But here it comes. KZB tries to go in with a Divine Judgment. Will catch over Zorn. He flickers away, still being left alive. And there goes Zorvecki trying to actually shove things off. and Jason Cole getting pushed back as well, holding off that sort of wave, hoping that Sing would not push right in, but Santa is still trying to actually keep the rest of the Geek Fam members at bay.
And this is what I was talking about. This was the game plan that Geek Fam should have done since since the beginning of the game. They pull Sync backwards with the sword, with the spear and shield there from Zorn, doing a really nice job. However, there's not a lot of follow-up he can really do now that the King's Glory has already been put, and Dominus just so happened to throw his Abyssal Arrow out. So unfortunately for Geek Fam, Sync is going to walk away scot-free, and it's Resurgence time to shine. They've already gotten 8k differential of gold. It's not looking very good here, but let's keep faith. Geek Fam fans, you need to give your energy to Geek Fam right now because they are on the cusp of defeat, and now they get another pick off from the side of Resurgence. They need it now more than ever as Ozoroveki, he's already used the concentration to get out of there. He's taking quite a bit. Death Sonata doesn't land from LY4. That last hit would have ended Ozoroveki while he was running back into the lane, but this game has not ended just yet. Jason, with a very aggressive engagement, catches off Arts, who was playing with fire, and when you do, especially with RSG, you get burned.
Now RSG looking to secure the mid side as well. Great Abyssal Arrow, but can they actually engage? No is the answer. Well, Becky will have to actually give way towards the members of RSG, but this is going to be the last inhibitor that's still pretty much left over the top side. Oh, perfect shot coming in from the side of LY4 as they will open up top. Now, there's only a few more things to do. Resurgence might just actually look out to get that Lord.
Yeah, and now at this point in time, remember, the game plan has changed because there's a significant goal lead onto Resurgence's side. Oh, they get an initial pickoff with a follow-up from Sync. He purifies on out of there, and the Imperial Justice comes on down. Sync, the first to fall. He's gonna come up with his resurrection for the immortality as the rest of the team looks to engage here. This is so big as Jason has taken advantage of Geek Fam. This is their moment. This is their time to secure themselves as the best in Malaysia and Singapore. Resurgence are knocking on Geek Fam's space to get the next catch. It is settled here and now. Resurgence are your new champions for the MPL FYSG Season 5.